So here's the thing, nearly had a crash in the Jeep. Well, I had an accident in the Jeep twice, not once, twice. First time driving along, we had the spare wheel on. I had a puncture in the driver's rear side wheel. It was a slow puncture, but it was annoying. It kept going down, and woke up in the morning, it was flat, and it kept pumping it up. So decided to take it to a vulcaniser. I couldn't find a vulcaniser locally, so I had to stick the tyre on the back of my bike, the wheel on the back of my bike, and drive it down to one in Vegan, which is on the main highway, where a guy there told me it was the valve. I needed a new valve, so I had a new valve put on. Hopefully that would have cured it. I put it back on the bike, got it back, stuck it back on the Jeep, took the spare off, and lo and behold, the next morning it was flat. So it obviously wasn't just the valve. I suspected that there was a hole in the tyre. I would have thought taking it to a vulcaniser where they've got all the, you know, they could test it in the water troughs and all that he would have found that out, but he didn't. Anyway, in the meantime, I just left the spare tyre on there. I was driving about for a couple of days, couldn't bother to get it done. Driving about for a couple of days with the spare on. And I was driving back from Vegan, coming home, that the spare tyre decided to blow up. Just shredded to pieces. And it was a clunk, 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 clunk. As the wheel was going round, it sort of like stripped, the rubber stripped from the actual tyre itself, not all of it, but the middle part of it just stripped away, and it was like bang, bang. I thought it was something else, and it wasn't until we got the Jeep home and his dad put his hand on it. He said, "Bloody hell," he said, "you've had a blowout." So I took that one off and put I mean, obviously we couldn't drive it, so I had to take the rear tyre back down to the same vulcaniser to get him to have a look at it. Anyway, it was a different guy there. When I got down there this time, it was a different guy, and this guy was brilliant. He took it off. I said I'd had the valve changed 2 days ago, and I said, but it's still going flat. So he took it off and he put it in the water trough, and he said, "Oh, there's a hole there." Oh, great, okay. I don't know why the other guy didn't find it, but well, it was obviously he just found it just like that. So he proceeded in fixing it, vulcanising it. You know, sort of scraped all. They do what they do. They just fix the tyre. It's a tubeless one, so he obviously burned the rubber or whatever they do. I mean, he fixed it. But not only did he fix the tyre, the wheel trim itself, the wheel itself, he cleaned it, he filed all the rough bits off of it. Obviously it's not been looked after, the Jeep, and he folded it, I mean, he sort of like polished it up, and he done a really good job putting grease all round it, and that, what I guess done what you're supposed to do, for which I was very grateful. And he pumped it up, and he's bouncing it around and sitting on it and saying, "There you go." I said, "How much is that?" He said, 250, which is about £4, I think, £4.20 or something like that. And I was very grateful. Now I gave the guy 100 peso tip. I don't know what he earns a day, but because he'd done me a massive favour and he fixed the tyre after, I mean, it's been going on for a couple of weeks now. It keeps going on down. I have to keep having it pumped up, and he fixed it. So I came, put the tyre back on the bike, came back, changed the wheels over, put the wheel back on. And you know, when you put the wheel back on, you sort of like you jack it up, put it on, then you tighten it up a little bit, then you drop it down, and then you do the final tighten, right? Well, something happened in between that. Me doing the final tighten, I think the phone went, or I was called, or something. I don't know what happened, but my attention was distracted, so I forgot to do the final tighten. Well, I soon found out, because the next day we drove down to Vegan, went down to Vegan, fine, everything's fine, kept looking, checking, yeah, the tyre's fine. And then we done what we had to do, driving about a little bit more around the town. And then it was on the way back from Vegan, almost in the same spot as where the blowout happened, coming back up towards San Vicente from Vegan towards our house. I don't know why, but I just sort of like gazed to my left and looked down at the tyre, and it was wobbling like this, and I thought, you know, what's going on? Without realising that I forgot to tighten the bloody wheel up. So I thought, well, I better pull over. And there was a 7-Eleven just on the right hand side, which is opposite a major school on the left. And there was row upon row of tricycle drivers waiting for the service for all the school kids to take them home and get them picked up or whatever. And there was a load of people in a 7-Eleven. And just before I got there, there was this massive clunk, and the Jeep did a sort of like a kangaroo 1, 2, 3 bounce up and down on me. Well, my head was hitting the inside of the roof. My wife was sitting next to me, being thrown around it. I mean, it's funny now, but it wasn't at the time. It was quite frightening, because if I was going fast, 30 miles an hour, I mean, we would have flipped over. That could have been it. Good night. And then the next, I turned to the left, and the next thing, the wheel is hurtling past me, going straight for the tricycle drivers on the other side of the road. So luckily, one of them, he put his foot out and stopped the tyre from going any further. And of course, we've now come to a shuddering halt on the right-hand side, sort of like not in the middle of the road, but diagonally across our lane, causing a bit of a tailback behind us. And obviously, onlookers coming this way. A lot of them were laughing, which I must admit I started laughing, watching my wheel go past the Jeep flying down the road. And bless them, all the tricycle drivers were brilliant. I mean, they were laughing, but they were very helpful. So they kind of brought the tyre back to me. And there was 2 nuts that when I got out, there was 2 nuts on the floor, wheel nuts on the floor, but I don't know where the other 2 had gone. I thought, shit, 2 of them I'd have to do, I could get another 2 off the spare. Anyway, this guy came on, and I had luckily got a jack, so I jacked the car. Obviously, because where the tyre had come off, the Jeep's now down low, so I had to jack it up, and then I couldn't jack it up high enough to get the tyre back on. So I don't know where this truck driver found it. He found a big block of concrete. I mean, 3 or 4 of them came rushing over the well. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I put the concrete underneath the wheel, and underneath the suspension bit, you know. I mean, these Jeeps are made of, God, I mean, to break one of them, I mean, you've got to drive it off the end of a cliff. They're so solid. I mean, it dug a channel in the road where the back suspension bar was just sort of like going into the road where the wheel was supposed to be. Anyway, we got it jacked up, and we managed to get the wheel on, and this other guy came across, and he said, oh, there's the other 2 nuts. And I thought, well, happy days. So we put it back on, made sure it was at that point I thought, oh shit, I know what I've done now. I forgot to tighten the bloody nuts up. I mean, I felt like such an idiot. But listen, you got to be really, really careful. I mean, you can't. It's difficult enough to concentrate here as it is, what with the heat and sort of like things going on. But I'm beating myself up because I'm so stupid. One of the first things you do when you put a wheel on is make sure the bloody nuts are tight, right? Not silly bollocks here, I forgot. Anyway, luckily, nobody was hurt. Either me or my wife, or any onlookers, or people on the road. I could have hit somebody, I could have done... Absolute... I'm just so disgusted with myself. But lesson learned. Next time I muck around with my Jeep, I'm going to muck around with it and make sure that I finish the job that I started. I can actually show you... I know I'm laughing now, but it's not funny. I can show you the spare tyre which kicked it all off. Hang on. You see that? All the way around there, look. And this was just flapping up and down. So I hope I don't get another puncture, because I won't be putting that spare tyre on it. Mind you, tyres are not that expensive over here, about 30 quid I think for a new one, but you can get second-hand tyres. But I'm so grateful and I'm so lucky that nobody was hurt. So again, I emphasise, keep your head on, concentrate when you're doing stuff like that. It's bad enough on the roads around here as it is. I mean, they drive like lunatics anyway. But to have one of your wheels go hurtling past you on the way home, going to get home before you are, was quite disconcerting. So I just thought I'd let you have that little story. Had a little crash, little bit of a misdemeanour, but we're fine. Lesson learned, Mr. Burns. See you on the next one.